today's video, if you're not a completionist for certain bands, I want to highlight three fantastic compilation albums that will bring you a long way towards having most of the great material that you would want to have as maybe a casual fan for three bands. I'm going to talk about the Kinks, the Beach Boys, and near and dear to my heart, Steely Dan today. Three comps that are must-haves, whether or not you're a completionist. These comps are so good, they belong in every record collector's collection. In 1971, the Kinks signed with RCA Records, and at that point in time, a compilation album was going to be put together and targeted towards the U.S. market. In 1972, we received a double album compilation called the Kinks Chronicles, Chronicles with a K. And this is a delightful collection of songs. A lot of these were singles that were never released on albums, and then there is a heavy focus on albums released between 1966 and 1971. There's a look at that distinctive black cover listing all of the songs right there. We have a very British looking back cover as you know, apropos for probably one of the most British bands ever. And then in this gatefold edition, we have a remarkable essay and a little bit of a comedy treatment describing the Kinks during that time period, going in depth on some of their live tours and some of the hijinks that the Davis brothers were up to, along with other members of the band. But the cool thing about this is you're getting Kink classics. Everything from Lola, Waterloo Sunset is on here, Polly, This Is Where I Belong, the Village Green Preservation Society, Victoria, King Kong, Wonder Boy, Mr. Pleasant, She's Got Everything. Ray Davis is an absolute legend in rock and roll, and if you just have this album, you're going to go a long way towards covering the early and mid period, the great days of the Kinks. And then if you're into latter period Kinks, go out and get low budget. Give the people what they want. Fantastic albums that could be picked up for between $8 and $10. But first and foremost, just go get a copy of this. Originally released in 1972, this was on the Reprise label, and I actually have a 1976 reissue. You can see it's got the little Warner Brothers bubble. Well, yeah, it's on that side. It's on this side too. Showing that or illustrating that this is a latter period reissue. Reprise had not been swallowed up by Warner Brothers at that point in time. But anyway, fantastic, highly recommended. So much good music, so many classic songs in one relatively easy to find package. If you're looking for the best of the Beach Boys, I'm talking about the period from 1963 up to about Pet Sounds 1966. Go out and get yourself a copy of Endless Summer. This is a double LP compilation released by Capitol in 1974. It's got that distinctive kind of the Beach Boys circa 1973 look. Fantastic artwork. This is also a gatefold album. I mean, check this stuff out. Now, early copies of this album came with a very, very cool poster, which are very collectible and they're hard to find. I didn't have one in picking this one up. But the important thing about this comp, very, very important, you want to get the Los Angeles pressing, which has got Wally Traugott's signature in the dead wax. Now that could be Wally spelled out W-A-L-L-Y, or it could be just short W-L-Y. But you're always going to find that in script form next to the stamp mastered by Capitol. And Wally Traugott, if you don't know, is a legendary mastering engineer. Tons of highly regarded mastered pressings are out there. Check out a video that I did on Wally over a year ago. It's in my Mastering Engineers and Best Sounding Albums playlist. But Wally Traugott, this is a masterpiece, and this contains everything that you need from the great songs. Brian Wilson compositions that are just, they're up there. They're going to live forever. We're not going to have Brian Wilson forever, but these songs are going to live forever. I'm talking about Surfin' Safari, Catch a Wave, The Warmth of the Sun, In My Room, Don't Worry Baby. Doesn't get much better than that, and this thing sounds absolutely amazing. Get the Wally Traugott mastered copy. Don't settle for anything less. Keep looking until you find one. And you're going to pay between $10 and $15 for this amazing record compilation. After Steely Dan released Asia in 1977 on the ABC Records label, ABC Records was in the middle of being acquired by MCA. And that, coupled with the fact that Walter Becker and Donald Fagen were really obsessing, and that's saying something for those two individuals, over the workings of their next album, which would eventually be Gaucho, released in 1980. So in 1978, ABC Records wanted to put out a greatest hits package. They approached Walter and Donald, and they agreed to go ahead and work on the running order of the album. It would famously include only one unreleased track. That was Here at the Western World. I'm talking about the 1978 double LP compilation, Steely Dan's Greatest Hits. This has been a very successful compilation. You want to ensure that you're picking up a copy of this comp on the ABC Records logo. And the earlier ABC logo to look for is the ABC Eighth Note logo. In the dead wax, you want to find on all four sides a stamped master disc stamp, and then typically you're going to find at least one RL for Robert Ludwig on one of those four sides. I have found copies of this with an RL on all four sides. That is the best scenario that you can hope for. But after a lot of research, a lot of reading of the forums, most people agree out there that even though 1, 2, or 3 sides may not have the RL in the dead wax, this was definitely mastered by Robert Ludwig. And he had available to him at that time the master tapes. And these all sound absolutely amazing. All these songs were hand-selected tracks from Donald and Walter. Many people swear by this comp and say that the mastered versions of these songs on this comp beat the originals on the original albums. That's saying something because, as we all know, Steely Dan were fastidious as far as recording, engineering, mastering, sound quality, etc., etc., etc. So look for that rainbow ABC logo if you are looking for a copy of Steely Dan's greatest hits. But a wonderful, wonderful compilation. And the only bummer here is that it did not include the song FM from the film of that period. FM. You could go get a soundtracked LP of FM for $2 or $3 if you're definitely in need of it, and I do recommend you go find that because that is an amazing song with an incredible guitar solo from Walter Becker. Thanks for watching. I hope everyone found this useful. If you're not a completionist and you just want to grab 3/4 or 90% of the best of those three bands that I mentioned, just go get those three comps and you'll be all set. Take care. I will be back soon. You've been watching the University of Vinyl. My name is Tim. See you next time.